Nothing, I think I just got shot in the back. Is there something stuck in there? Could you pull it out?
I think whatever hit you, it's gone.
Don't worry about it then. I'm sure I'll feel better after I kill some guys.
Double Fine's Brutal Legend is an unabashed love letter and tribute to an era and genre of music that celebrated fast guitar riffs and hard living. Of course, the fact that Brutal Legend features a phenomenal soundtrack from the likes of Black Sabbath, Motorhead, and Judas Priest, with suitable hack and slash action, would feasibly constitute a reasonable tribute on its own terms. Yet what raises Brutal Legend above that simple construct, plus what makes it a great ode to metal, is how it cleverly integrates so many different facets of the culture and its music to create an experience that consistently entertains and surprises in both single player and multiplayer. But it should come as no surprise to those familiar with Double Fine's previous work with Psychonauts or the work of the company's founder Tim Schafer, that Brutal Legend's characters and its story are the primary highlights. Eddie Riggs, a roadie who remembers and worships the glory days of metal, serves as a perfect lead character who's magically transported to a world that ostensibly reflects his own image of heaven. This world is a vast place where enormous crumbling statues and smaller skull-encrusted shrines pay homage to the gods and titans that brought metal and its music to the land. Naturally, there's a heavy dose of irony involved in this setup, which gives Jack Black, who does the voice of Eddie Riggs, plenty of room to do his funny, albeit kind of expected, trademark sarcasm-laden observational routine.
I'm heading in there now! You sure you don't want to talk me out of it? No? Okay.
Secondary characters are often just as entertaining and memorable as Eddie Riggs. Ozzy Osbourne gives an amazing and surprisingly coherent performance as the Keeper of Metal, a storekeeper of sorts dwelling within special monuments dotted around Brutal Legend's open-world landscape. He sells upgrades for attacks as well as Eddie's various pieces of equipment, including his battle axe, guitar, and his vintage roadster, the Deuce.
Something for your driving pleasure.
There's an equally amusing, if not subdued, performance by Motorhead's lead singer Lemmy, who, as the Killmaster, functions as a healer for Eddie's army of headbangers. These characters and the story they tell are major reasons to keep playing through Brutal Legend's single-player campaign. But there's also plenty of good action to be had despite some shortcomings. The game is set up in an open-world structure that lets you set the pace of progression, so you can either stick to Eddie's main mission to defeat Diviculus and Lion White, or drive around in the Deuce to find secondary missions that are easily found using an in-game map. At first, the motivation for taking the secondary route is pretty clear. Every completed mission rewards you with fire tributes or points that function as the game's currency, and because secondary missions are usually pretty easy and don't require much time, this is a really quick way to make a substantial amount of cash. Most secondary missions share the same objective, so it doesn't take long for all of the ambush, race, and defend miss point scenarios to get old. Secondly, you can purchase most of the useful upgrades relatively early in the game, which makes these missions even less enticing. Conversely, its primary campaign does a much better job of breaking up different mission types and mixing in action that plays to its different mechanics. Granted, there are a couple of dreaded escort missions where you have to follow your army's tour bus from one location to another while fending off enemies, but these aren't all that difficult as long as you keep an eye on where enemies spawn. Eddie also has to go on foot into unknown areas for some missions, relying only on his axe for close combat and his guitar for long-range lightning and fire strikes. It's in these moments that you also learn to use some of his other skills, specifically guitar solos. These solos, which you can unlock by finding shrines, function as special moves for Eddie. They allow him to melt faces of nearby enemies, recruit new army members, or negate an enemy's magic abilities, or even summon a massive burning zeppelin. Yes, a burning zeppelin.
Hook me up, I'm ready for blast off.
A good portion of Brutal Legend is a real-time strategy game. And surprisingly, it's one of the best takes on the genre, at least for consoles, in quite some time. Though its multiplayer incarnation is definitely better than its single-player counterpart. Each side has access to what are essentially fountains of fans that you need to build merchandise booths over in order to claim them as a resource for building additional units. Building more merch booths and claiming more fans lets you not only summon more units, but also different types of units. You can control these units in different ways, either by using various commands on the D-pad, or by taking to the air and setting waypoints via a marker that you can place just about anywhere in the level, which is also a highly recommended move because it gives you a better overall strategic view. And yes, Eddie grows wings that let him fly and survey the battlefield, but in either case, you still have to be reasonably close to your units to issue these commands.
The view from up there is really incredible.
There's a little bit of everything here on the spectrum, but to be fair, if metal's not really your thing, then you might find it a little grating. But one thing that should appeal to just about anyone is Brutal Legend's visual style. It's not necessarily a technical powerhouse in terms of special effects, but it more than makes up for it with cool-looking characters and varied environments that obviously had quite some thought and detail put into them. But no matter where you are in the world, there's always some cool object to look at. Unfortunately, there are some hiccups in the frame rate here and there, particularly when you're driving around or when there's a bit too much happening in a stage battle, but otherwise it remains rock solid throughout the game. Whether it's excellent vocal performances from heavy hitters of metal or a strong multiplayer element, Brutal Legend is a game that continually surprises, and it does so in a genuinely fun and interesting way. And Double Fine deserves some major respect for keeping so many aspects of the game closely tied to its subject matter. Of course, Brutal Legend also has some shortcomings. The secondary missions are weak, and the single-player campaign lasts about 7 hours if you're not too keen on unlocking every single last shrine or secret item. In that respect, it's unfortunate that there's just not more of the good stuff, such as the on-foot missions with boss battles or more fleshed-out side quests. Otherwise, Brutal Legend is just about the finest tribute to this genre of music that a fan could hope for. And a successful execution of real-time strategy elements in an action setting is something that should get everyone off their feet and clapping.
Yeah! They definitely are fans now.